Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to a match preview. Now, I'm going to start bringing these to the channel every single match day, just so I can bring more content to you guys. So, West Brom versus Burnley, 8 PM kickoff tomorrow night at the Hawthorns. And it's a game that I am kind of nervous for because the form of Albion at the moment, but we'll get into that a bit more later in the video. But visitors Burnley currently 4th in the league with 23 points. West Brom currently 6th with 21 points. So obviously there's not that much of a gap in terms of the table and stuff like that. But like I say, I am really nervous for this game. But Burnley, in their last game, to be honest with you, they did look very poor. They only registered one shot on target against Millwall, and they lost 1-0. Jake Cooper with a header. And to be honest, it kind of surprises me with Burnley because they haven't won in their last 3 games. And the last win they did get was against Sheffield Wednesday, where they won away. So obviously, Albion's last game, we managed to get a 1-1 draw with Luton. And I was not impressed with that performance whatsoever. Recently, we've just been very poor. We haven't won in our last 7 games. The last 5 games we have played have all been draws, but Luton away, I'll be honest with you, I'm struggling to even think of how we managed to get a draw. It was only because of Josh Maja, you know, it was a nice goal, to be honest with you, but I really don't think we deserved a draw in that game whatsoever. I thought Luton were probably the better side and probably deserved the win, but we have been really poor lately. And things need to improve. You know, like I say, we haven't won in 7 games. Our last win was against Plymouth, which seems like an absolute age ago, where we beat them 1-0 at the Hawthorns. Since then, you know, it's just been really poor and really disappointing from our point of view as well, because I don't mind losing or drawing games as long as we're playing well, but for me, the performance levels have dipped massively. And then to make things worse, recently, historically, we haven't been great against Burnley. We haven't beat them in the last 5 matchups against them. So it's going to be really difficult, especially with the form we're in. Like I say, we're kind of in similar form. Obviously, Burnley haven't won in their last 3, so they'll be desperate for a win. We haven't won in our last 7 though, which is even worse. So we desperately need a win tomorrow night. So key players for both sides. Obviously, you got Josh Brownhill at the moment, who's currently their top goal scorer. 5 goals, 1 assist. And they've got a player called, I need to try and, Colliesho. I'm not sure how you say it. He scored 2 for them. But to be honest with you, they haven't been great in front of goal this season. Not then like you would think they would be. You'd expect them to be scoring a lot more goals. I think even their manager, Scott Parker's come out and said that they've got a bit of a problem in front of goal at the moment, because those 2 players who I just mentioned are the only 2 players what have got 2 goals or more. And obviously, I do like Josh Brownhill. I think he's a really top player. And I think, to be honest, he's probably a bit better than the Championship. I think he's a low-end Premier League player. Obviously, I do like the look of Jadon Anthony as well. I think he was from Bournemouth. I mean, I remember in the window just gone, before we got Mikey Johnston, we were linked with Jadon Anthony. And to be honest, I do like him. He's very quick, very versatile. He works hard. I mean, I don't know how he's been performing the whole time at Burnley, but from whenever I've seen him, he looks like a very decent player. And then obviously it'll be really interesting for us as well, because we've got Jeremy Sarmiento coming back to the Hawthorns. He didn't have a very, you know, when he joined on loan, I expected him to be like a Harvey Barnes, but he was nowhere near that whatsoever. So he didn't really work out for us in the end. You know, he got recalled because I don't think he was really getting that much game time. He was mainly coming off the bench, and even when I saw him, I wasn't too impressed with him. And then we got the likes of Jay Rodriguez, who we'll see back at the Hawthorns as well. I love Jay Rodriguez at the Albion. You know, him and Gale up front, 2 of the best strikers we had in that Championship season. We absolutely tore it apart. And then I think, for us, key players, I'd definitely say for West Brom, Karlan Grant. I think in that last game, him and Torbjorn Hegem were the only 2 positives for us. I think they worked really hard. I've been super impressed with Karlan Grant this season as well. I just think that he's been given an opportunity to come back in and prove himself. And I think he's taking it, to be honest with you. Like, he's working really, really hard. You can see he's a changed player. And it's really, really nice to see, because at the end of the day, he's a West Brom player. I want all the players to do well. And, you know, when he went out on loan, he wasn't doing the best. But I do think that people forget about Karlan Grant, that he did have a season with us where he scored nearly 20 goals, or he did score 20 goals. I'm not 100% sure on the exact figures what he got, but he absolutely tore it up for us the one season. And I think people have quite a short memory to that, and that's the type of player he is, and the quality he does have, he just hasn't really been showing it lately. And like I mentioned, Torbjorn Hegem, I've absolutely loved this guy since we signed him. What an absolute bargain he's been. He's been an absolute Rolls Royce of a defender, and he's been probably our best signing this season, I would say. He's been obviously a bargain. He works hard. He's just a very, very good player. And then in terms of goals, I think obviously Burnley should look out for Josh Maja, second top goal scorer in the league. I think it's only the Norwich striker who's above him, which, to be honest with you, he was, you know, Maja was out for a long, long time, and I don't think anyone would have expected him to score this many goals at this stage of the season. So really, really happy with Maja at the moment. Let's hope he can do it against Burnley. So in terms of injury news for both sides, you know, Burnley have still got Lyle Foster out. I really, really like Lyle Foster. I think he's a very decent striker. You know, he's played in the Premier League, and he's a good player, to be honest with you. And I'm very, very glad that he won't be starting against us, because he's still sidelined with an injury. Obviously, they've got a few other injuries as well. They've got Nathan Redmond, former Southampton and Southampton man, who's injured at the moment. To be honest, I wouldn't really be worried if Nathan Redmond was playing, no offence. I just don't think I think he's a bit past it now, to be honest with you. And then you got Manuel Benson, who's out injured as well. He's a half decent player. He's not too bad. And then we got Mike Trezor out as well with an injury. So although they've got a few injuries, I don't think their injuries are as significant as ours. You know, they've still got absolute good quality all over the pitch. You know, Rodriguez, Sarmiento, Brownhill. They've got Trafford in goal, who's probably a Premier League goalkeeper. You know, they've still got absolute quality all over the pitch, and I've been a bit disappointed with Burnley this season. I don't know if you guys can tell me you feel the same, but I expected them to come down and absolutely be smashing the league. But you know, they're still doing well. They're fourth, but like the last 3 games, they've been off it quite a bit, and I just expected a little bit more. I kind of expected them to come down and dominate the league. So now they haven't really been doing that at the moment. It's kind of a surprise for me. For West Brom, we've got so many injuries at the back. Like, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I saw the Express and Star put out an article recently as well saying that Frabota is a doubt for the game with an injury. So that's another defender what we're potentially going to be missing against Burnley tomorrow. You know, we already know that we've got Bartley out injured for quite a while. McNair out for a while, Ajayi out for a while, and we're just really, really struggling defensively. There's been talk we're struggling that much. Obviously, there was talk of us calling Caleb Taylor back, or, well, I think we will do this anyway, but bring in another defender on loan in January, because McNair leaves back to his club in January, and we've got a lot of injuries at the moment on the back line. So it'll be interesting to see what Carlos Corbejan does, because I know he's been coming up under a lot of pressure at the moment. Like George, I'm not on the Carlos out bandwagon yet. I say that, but it'd be very difficult for me to be, because, you know, I love the guy. I do love him as a manager, but I think he's not immune to criticism. I think his tactics have been very poor lately, and it is something he's got to look at. But it's a tough game against Burnley. In terms of my score prediction, though, I think it's going to be a very, very nervy game. I think both teams are going to try and sit back and get one another on the counter, because they're going to be nervous. You know, Burnley, they haven't won in 3. Their fans are going to travel down in decent numbers, so they're going to want to put on a performance. Scott Parker's a very demanding manager. He's very good in the Championship, and he won't let the standard slip. So to say they've lost the last 3, they haven't won in the last 3, then you'd be really, really disappointed with that. But in terms of a score prediction, it's a difficult one. I'm going to keep the faith. I'm going to say a 1-0 West Brom win. I think it'll be a very, very nervy game. And I think it's going to be a tight game. And I think 1 goal's going to win this one. I'm going to go 1-0 West Brom. Josh Madger with a goal. But guys, if you enjoyed the match preview, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, comment your score predictions as well. See you in the next one. Up the Albion.